This is Hold Fast, and today we're talking about the parable of the pearl of great price. This is a rather short parable. It's only 2 verses. It's in the middle of chapter 13 in the Gospel of Matthew, this version of it at least. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant searching for fine pearls. When he finds a pearl of great price, he goes and sells all that he has and buys it. He goes, sells all that he has, and buys it. What's this getting at? It's getting at that God is that pearl of great price. Following God, following Christ is that pearl of great price that is worth anything and everything else. Nothing comes before this. I'd like to mention a word on worship here, because worship comes from an Old English word for it's worthship. And what that means is that worship is about giving what is of highest worth to you. What is of highest worth to you? That's what you worship. That's what comes first. What are you willing to sell everything for? What comes first in your list of priorities? Is it God? Is it his kingdom? Is it fulfilling the vocation he gave for you? Or is it yourself? Or something or someone else? Or your own plans for your life? And like I've said before, it has so many dramatic implications for your life. Because you were made for a purpose. You were made on purpose. You were made for a reason. And that reason is to fulfill the vocation, the calling that God made you for. And that's how you'll find that peace and the longing and the fulfillment and the happiness, the joy that you seek. But to find that, we got to think about our priorities. And so this is a really good exercise. I do this with confirmation kids. List out your top 5 or maybe top 10 priorities and be honest with yourself, because for a lot of us, God is probably not number 1. Something else is going to be number 1. And so how do you determine that? How do you determine what comes first? What do you dedicate your time for? Where does your time go? Where do you spend most of your time? Where do you spend your money? Or maybe not money, but the valuable things of your life. Where do you spend those things? Finally, what bumps other things? And this isn't like the best indicator, because sometimes something less important will bump something more important, but only on kind of rare occasions. Like if it's consistently bumping other things, then you're putting a higher priority on whatever that thing is. So the various things could be like time with family. It could be some sport that you're playing. It could be some commitment that you have with friends. It could be worshiping God in prayer. It could be fill in the blank, watching things on the internet. Whatever becomes a priority, whatever takes the place of highest worth, that's your number 1 priority. And it's so helpful to go through this exercise, because you can see after it what's number 1. And the thing about worship is that whatever is number 1, whatever is the thing of highest worth, is what your life begins to revolve around. Look at Psalm 115. It talks about, this is in the Jewish context, how they look at their neighbors. And they see all of these people who are worshiping false idols. And there's a line in there that says, their makers will become like them. The makers of those idols will become like them. They worship these idols, but they'll become like them. These idols have mouths, but they can't speak. They have eyes, they can't see. They have ears, but they can't hear. They're just wood. They're just wood or stone or silver. But they're dead. And their makers will be like them. Dead. That's part of how sin makes death enter the world. This idolatry of sin, putting something else before God. And that's the high stakes of that this parable puts before us, and that our priorities lay out before us. What comes first? What's of highest priority to you? If it's God, then your life will revolve around God. And if your life revolves around God, yes, you will find the peace, the happiness, the fulfillment that you long for. But if it's not God, nothing can take the place of God. And that means that peace that you're seeking, you'll never completely find. You'll find some of it, but not all of it. or that fulfillment that you're seeking. You'll find some of it, but not all of it. And eventually you'll realize there's something missing. There's something missing in my heart, and I want it, and I seek it, and I want it so bad, and I would get anything for it. But I don't know what it is. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I know something's out there. And this is the sad situation. So many people are convinced, either by the devil or the world around us, or maybe by themselves, that they don't need God, or God isn't true, or God doesn't care about them, that Jesus isn't real. And he's the very means through which they find this peace. And they so go out into the world trying to find their peace in whatever it is. Maybe it's some sort of pleasure. Maybe it's some sort of power. Maybe it's some sort of wealth or honor or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, they realize something's missing. And they've already convinced themselves that Christ can't be the answer. And the thing is, whatever they look for definitely is not the answer. Christ really was the answer. And if you're one of those people, maybe you're hitting rock bottom. Christ is the answer. Christ is that highest priority. If you just give him a chance, give him a month of centering your life on him. Center your life on him. Make time to pray in the morning and the evening. And don't let anything bump that. Make sure you go to church on Sunday. Make sure you go to Mass and let that be the center of your life. Make sure you live by his commandments. And that comes first. And what you'll find is two things. You'll start to find the peace, the happiness, the fulfillment that you always wanted. It's in him. Trust me on that. And if you don't trust me, do it. And you'll find out. The other part of it, well, I forgot. So maybe that's all God wanted to say. Give him a chance. Put him number one. He already puts you number one. And so you'll see, oh man, you'll see the incredible love that God has for you.